In the zoo animal community, there is a discussion about whether or not training is enrichment. They're both beneficial from a welfare perspective, but to which extent do they have similar effects? Can all training be considered enrichment, or just some, or none? Are the beneficial effects of enrichment that cannot be obtained during training, or vice versa? Environmental enrichment has four main effects and goals. A good enrichment intervention should add behavioral choices. It should promote species-specific behavior. It should give the animal control over its environment. And it should empower the animal to cope with challenges. Training achieves the same objectives. Choice. A trained animal can make choices. In a context of positive reinforcement, the animal is experimenting to see what works and what doesn't. What's more, an untrained animal doesn't have any choice when it comes to some types of veterinary interventions, for example. With training, those choices become available to the animal. What about species-specific behavior? Well, what is behavior? Emotions are behaviors, and training triggers emotions. Training using edible food items as positive reinforcers triggers the seeking system, a fundamental emotional system in the brain involved in foraging motivation and behavior. Essentially, when the animal is being trained, its brain is in foraging mode, a species-specific covert behavior. Control means affecting the environment by doing something. This is the defining characteristic of operant conditioning. When animals behavior, bringing about consequences from which they can learn. If I do this, then that happens. An untrained animal may also have control over its environment to some extent. Training merely increases the range of that control. The last goal, empowerment. Through operant conditioning, the animal can learn to deal with stresses and improve coping responses in potentially aversive situations. This in contrast to untrained animals who might be overwhelmed and panic when subjected to relocation, transport, or a veterinary intervention. To summarize, welfare effects of enrichment are illustrated in blue and welfare effects of training in green. As you can see, there's probably a lot of overlap. But there are effects of enrichment that perhaps cannot be obtained through training, such as greater behavioral diversity over extended time periods. Enrichment normally does not rely on cues from humans to elicit behavior. Enrichment also triggers other motivations, such as social behavior or comfort behavior, and other core emotions, such as play or lust. And there are beneficial welfare effects of training too that cannot be achieved through enrichment. The title of this paper is Training is Enrichment and Beyond. What's the meaning of that last bold statement? Well, as discussed, training can achieve some of the same welfare-promoting effects that enrichment can. But I also suggest that it can achieve other effects that are more or less inaccessible through conventional enrichment. Training improves human-animal relationships, which has been shown to improve welfare. One approach to addressing unwanted behavior is to teach the animal desirable replacement behaviors that it can perform instead. Training is all about influencing what the animal learns, avoiding that the animal picks up unwanted bad habits, for instance. Training may also be used to reduce fear, overcome anxiety, better utilize their environment, and reduce stress during capture and veterinary procedures. Training may also facilitate husbandry procedures. To conclude, zoos should acknowledge the beneficial effects of training and make full use of them through a behavioral management program, incorporating both conventional enrichment and training. Maximal welfare effects are obtained by using them both. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the paper.